No team in the 104-year history of Penn State football showed more character than the 1990 Nittany Lions. Their drive to win their final 9 games unleashed a tidal wave of blue and white fury and excitement.
It goes in for a touchdown. It is picked off by Darren Perry at midfield. He begins the return across field to the off the gash. He has a hole. He's to the 35, to the 40, comes up the end zone, and it is caught by Ricky Sales for a touchdown.
It was just a mission of winning 9 straight games.
The pass on a short drop, Van Pelt. He'll be sacked back in the 50. Throwing deep into the end zone for David Daniels. Great catch for a touchdown by David Daniels.
So as a team that we're going to win 9 in a row, and we won 9 in a row. So I think the word that best describes this football team is persistent and determined.
They took their persistence and determination and rolled through college football as something special. A team that believed in itself. A team that possessed a will to win. Entering his 25th year as Penn State head coach, Joe Paterno began the 1990s season with a young and inexperienced squad. Gone to the NFL were Blair Thomas, Andre Collins, and Roger Duffy. Replacing their leadership and giving the younger players time to gain maturity and confidence were the major challenges facing the Lions as they took their game from the practice field into the teeth of a rugged and difficult schedule. The 1990 season opened with a bang and finished with an explosion. A top 25 team in the preseason polls, the Lions stunned Texas early, turning Gary Brown's 95-yard kickoff return into a Leroy Thompson touchdown, less than 90 seconds into a new and challenging season. This group, called by Joe Paterno the youngest squad he had ever seen in 40 years at Penn State, found itself in a major struggle with a veteran Longhorn team. After 60 minutes of battle, the Lions fell 4 points short against the eventual Southwest Conference champions. In their first visit since 1968 to Memorial Coliseum, Penn State invaded the home turf of top 10-ranked Southern Cal. In a game that proved a rallying point for what would happen the remainder of the season, Penn State missed the victory by less than a touchdown. Surprisingly, these proud Lions found themselves 0-2. And no matter how frustrating their search for success had become, they never questioned their resolve. Minutes after the final gun, they came together as a team and simply decided they would not accept another defeat.
When we were sitting in that locker room with our second loss, we all banded together and decided that we weren't going to lose another game, that we were going to go 9-2, and I think it was Gary Brown who said that.
We all banded together and said, you know, we have to change things around. We have to do something. We've worked hard, but we've got to start playing like we know we can play.
After we lost the first 2 games, we said right then that we were going to win 9 games in a row, and if anybody didn't believe we could do it, they could just like lead the team right then and there, because we were determined that we were going to come back and bounce back from those 2 losses.
And bounce back they did, as previously undefeated Rutgers visited Beaver Stadium. The Lion offense looked to regain its confidence, and the team initiated the first step toward turning the season into something special. A 65-yard scoring drive in the opening period launched Penn State's powerful resurgence. The blue and white struck with a variety of hammers, jolting the visitors with a Tyson Thomas 43-yard punt return, and pounding them with 268 yards total offense in the first half alone. Tailback Leroy Thompson, senior co-captain from Knoxville, Tennessee, put his imprint on this important return to winning. His fourth touchdown of the day was the most scored by a Penn State player in one game since 1976. Defensively, the Lions recorded 6 sacks and held the visitors to just 36 yards rushing. The Scarlet Knights could not stand up to the ravaging raids of linebacker Reggie Gibbons, nose tackle Todd Berger, or linebacker Eric Rabati. The first step was complete in the climb back into the national spotlight. Against Temple, the focus was to reaffirm the dominance of the running game. It began on the opening kickoff.
It goes into the end zone to Gary Brown. He's 2 yards deep, but he'll come out to the 5, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Brown breaks away. He's at the 25, at the 30. Brown to the 35, to the 40. Cuts back at the 45, east to midfield. Gary Brown to the 40, down to the 35 and 30 of Temple, to the 25, 20, and finally taken down at the 18-yard line.
I didn't know how well we could run the football, but we came in the ball game. We were going to find out whether we could or we couldn't. We would find out whether we could run the football. And I didn't make any bones about that to them.
The Lions responded. Williamsport's Gary Brown blasted for more than 100 yards. So did Leroy Thompson. And behind an improving offensive line, the Lions pounded out 361 yards on the ground. As the blue and white established their power by foot, it opened up lanes for the passing attack. A 5'8" package of dynamite named Terry Smith exploded for 1 touchdown. And a 26-yard grab by David Daniels added another to a Lions' huge offensive day. For the second week in a row, the defense shut down the opposition.
And here is the play action. Baker is slammed as he got the ball off, and it's intercepted by Jim Dieter. Back to pass, Baker has time. Now scrambling to his left, looking, he throws. It's intercepted by Fusetti. Richardson back to pass, scrambles up in the pocket and fires down the middle. It is picked off by Darren Perry. He's
4 interceptions highlighted victory number 2 as the Lion comeback gathered momentum. The first serious test of the Lions' winning streak brought more than 86,000 fans, a national television audience, and old rival Syracuse to Beaver Stadium. Less than a minute into the game, Willie Thomas's interception ignited the home crowd and sparked the Lion offense. When Tony Sacca found nothing but blue shirts on his road to a 7-0 lead, it marked the beginning of a ball control offense that maintained possession for more than 35 minutes without a single turnover. Fullback Sam Gash, putting Penn State up 14-6, rumbled for a career-high 78 yards as the Lions turned to power football. On defense, Penn State controlled the scrambles of young quarterback Marvin Graves. In the second half, Syracuse was handcuffed with an incredible -9 yards rushing. The Lions simply squeezed the orange and buried Graves. Early in the final period, with Penn State on top by 3, the defense again applied pressure.
Now they come with a 4-man rush. Here comes Graves. Jim Dieter's got him at the 35-yard line for the sack and a huge defensive play.
And set up the game's clinching touchdown.
The throw, throws to the sideline. He completes it to Daniels at the 15. He's to the 10, 5. David Daniels takes it in for the touchdown.
It was an audible, and Tony went to a certain route, checked out to, and I ran it. And I came back to the ball. I just want to concentrate and look the ball in and just turned it inside and just saw a guy standing there and just went around him and went to the end zone.
Daniel's score elevated the Lions' advantage to 24-14. And in the closing minutes, the running of Gash and Thompson killed the clock. The final meeting of Penn State and Syracuse became history as the Lions continued their dominance over the Orange with their 18th win of the past 20 years.
It was a very important win for us today. Syracuse is a very fine team, and we just wanted to come together as a team today and go out and prove that we're one of the elite teams in the nation.
When you start out 0-2, if you want to make anything happen, you got to win a lot of your football games left. So we're, yeah, I'm pleased. I think we're making progress. Get a little better all the time.
Three consecutive road games and all the dangers involved began at Boston College, where Joe Paterno's team faced yet another challenge. Without their top three tailbacks for most of the contest, the Lions tried some other ways to move the football. Two first-half touchdowns, including this sack a strike to Terry Smith, kept the score even at the half. In another display of dominance, the Lion defense, led by linebacker Keith Goganis, held Boston College to only 4 yards rushing the entire game. Rattled by the onslaught, the BC quarterback turned to picking out the wrong targets. Interceptions by Darren Perry, and Leonard Humphreys grounded the Eagles, while the Lions unveiled an unexpected source of offensive firepower. In front of a second straight CBS national television audience, Penn State introduced an untested running back from Barnwell, South Carolina, named Shelly Hammonds, who responded in record-setting fashion.
Pitch to Hammonds, sweeping the short side, makes a move, and Shelly Hammonds is gone. He's at the 40, 30, 20. Shelly Hammonds going all the way for the touchdown. Dave Brzezinski with a good block to spring him. A 65-yard touchdown run by Shelly Hammonds. Terry Smith in motion from left to right. Here's the pitch back to Shelly Hammonds, cuts it back up the middle. He's to the 40. Shelly Hammonds cuts back again. He's at the 30. Shelly Hammonds may go all the way. 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Shelly Hammonds. And you know who he got a great block from? Tony Sacca downfield at the 17-yard line.
It was a day for defense as Penn State visited the gridiron capital of the South, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to face the Crimson Tide on their homecoming. This would be a head-to-head collision of two of football's outstanding programs. Darren Perry short-circuited the Tide's opening drive, and the Lions turned it into a Craig Fayak field goal. Neither offense could raise much of a storm on this day, and Penn State rode a thin 3-0 advantage into the dying moments of the third period. With senior Tom Bill effectively directing the attack, the Lions set up for another crucial field goal. At 50 yards, a real confidence builder for State's improving freshman kicker.
The 50-yarder was a big kick for me. I went in there and didn't want to kick it too high because I knew, I didn't want to come short with it. And I hit it well, but, my holder knew immediately it was good, and when it went through, I was just really relieved.
In the final period, the defense would hand Fayak one more opportunity.
Now scrambling, fires one deep downfield for Finkley. It is picked off by Darren Perry at midfield. He begins the return across field to the 45. He is still going across field and finally taken down at the 43-yard line. An I formation in the backfield. Handoff to Leroy Thompson, straight up the middle, has a seam. He's to the 40 and down to the 38-yard line. Snap is down, the kick is away. It has the distance. Is it through? It's good. Craig Fayak adds another three-pointer.
3 Penn State field goals proved enough on this memorable day in Tuscaloosa.
We knew Alabama had a great defense. We knew that it was going to be tough tough day for the offense. So we just took it upon ourselves to say, hey, if they can't score, they can't win. And that's what we did. Shut them out, and it's a great feeling.
Alabama couldn't score, and Alabama didn't win. They were held to only 6 yards rushing, the lowest total in the 99-year history of Tide football. State's defenders forced 6 turnovers in a game that will rank among the greatest defensive accomplishments ever at Penn State. A lot of young men grew up on this sunny Saturday in Alabama and showed a 3rd straight national TV audience the Beast of the East was back on the prowl.
When you shut out a team like Alabama at home, on their homecoming, I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. And we kind of proved to the country that after that game that we were back and we can play with any team in the country.
Morgantown, West Virginia was the 3rd stop on this 3-week journey, and the winningest active coach in college football found his squad in a tough struggle away from home. On the 2nd play of the game, Darren Perry suddenly silenced the Mountaineer crowd. A Derek Bana interception followed by an exceptional catch by Terry Smith handed Penn State a 14-6 halftime lead. Early in the 3rd quarter, after West Virginia cut the margin to 14-12, Smith continued his mastery of the Mountaineers with 2 more clutch catches. Behind an offensive line of Pat Duffy, Greg Huntington, Rob Ludicky, Dave Brzezinski, and Matt McCartan, the Lions engineered one of their most important drives of the year, culminated by some fancy Tom Bill legwork.
It was supposed to be a screen to Jerry Collins, and Jerry got pretty much eaten up at the line of scrimmage. They gang tackled him, and I rolled to the side where the screen was supposed to be, and there was nobody there. Somebody threw a great block on one of the linebackers, and it was, my speed got me in.
A 19-yard 4th quarter run by tailback Jerry Collins helped the Lions put this one away. And they exited Morgantown with their 30th win over the Mountaineers in the past 32 years. Returning home, the Lions wasted little time delivering a knockout blow to the Maryland Terrapins. For the 2nd week in a row, the defense scored before the offense even took the field.
Play action. Zolak throws to the sideline. It is intercepted at the 25-yard line. It's Leonard Humphreys. He's at the 40. Midfield. 45, 40, 35, 30. Going down the sideline. Staggers into the end zone for the touchdown. Leonard Humphreys on a 73-yard interception return. Penn State, for the 2nd week in a row, scores early on an INT.
With the home crowd roaring on every play, the Lions created chaos for the visitors. Ben Foddy, Givens, Giannetti, and friends denied the Terrapins any momentum. On both sides of the line, this was purely and simply a Penn State day.
Tony Sacca going to put it up right away.
Sacca and Daniels played pitch and catch.
Daniels downfield. He has it.
And on a 4th and 21, when Sacca pitched,
Throwing deep into the end zone for David Daniels.
Daniels caught. Another breathtaking grab in the career of David Daniels. Leroy Thompson, the bullish, quick-cutting tailback who would lead this team in rushing, added 132 yards. As the Maryland victory showed, improvement from the first game of the season was stunning. This team was determined to win them all. The year's most awaited game took the Lions under the Golden Dome to challenge top-ranked Notre Dame. The Irish built a quick 2-touchdown lead until Tony Sacca guided Penn State on a 68-yard drive. Sacca's long peg to Terry Smith not only put the Lions on the board, but boosted their confidence in this classic matchup between two longtime national powers.
After that, they came back and I think they scored again, but, you know, we still knew that we can do things against them, and it just lifted us up that much just to know that in the second half we could come out and pull it together and do what we had to do.
What they had to do was stop an Irish offense that had scored 3 touchdowns.
And Waters in the backfield, but Meyer going to throw again in the pocket. He throws. It's intercepted by D'Onofrio. He's at the 40, 35, 30, 25. D'Onofrio at the 20 and down to the 12-yard line. Barca into the game at wideout. Back to pass is Sacca. Blitzes on, throws into the end zone, and it is caught by Ricky Sales for a touchdown. Deep in the end zone. A bobbling catch, but Sales holds on, and Penn State scores.
It was a wide option. I got to just run any kind of lane I wanted to. Wherever I feel I can get open, just run to the open spot. And Sacca just threw it up.
This third period touchdown put the score at 21-14 Notre Dame. So effective was the Lions' defense that Notre Dame never reached midfield the entire second half and could gain only 75 total yards those final 2 periods. Under Sacca, the Lions' offense proved relentless. With 277 yards and 20 completions, the junior quarterback enjoyed the finest day of his career. With excellent protection, Sacca rifled a throwback pass to Al Golden for the tying score, completing a 2-touchdown day for Lion tight ends.
We felt that if we can get them going, you know, everybody flowing, we can catch them in an overflow. And when I came out of the break, out of the delay, I looked and the defensive back had his back turned. And it was just enough for Tony to get it in there. And like I said, I was just going to find the end zone.
With less than 7 minutes to play and the score tied, the blue and white defense kept the Irish stuck in their tracks. To break this deadlock, the Lions needed to make something happen.
The 3rd down and 9. Meyer straight back to pass, has time, he throws, it is intercepted! Intercepted by Darren Perry! 30, 25, down to the 20-yard line! Darren Perry picks the ball off, Penn State with 59 seconds to go! Wide receiver split, Gash and Thompson in the eye, handoff to Leroy straight up the middle. 8 seconds left, they call the timeout, and Penn State will go for the field goal.
In one of the highest rated and most watched games in the history of televised college football, a freshman place kicker would attempt the biggest kick of his young career.
And the ball will be right in the middle of the field. Remember, it's a 3rd down. If it's a bad snap, Bill Spohr could throw it away and they'd have another shot. Here's the snap, it's down. The kick is away. It's up, it's long enough. It's goal! Penn State is going to upset Notre Dame.
Now, I've kicked that kick 1,000 times in practice in my backyard. So just as I was ready to kick the ball, I told my holder, I said, hey, just like kicking in the backyard. And things worked out.
Showed a lot of pride and a lot of character in the second half, showed what we were made of.
Them being number 1 and we were number 18 or whatever, we felt, we had nothing to lose. Go in there, let's throw the ball and let's see what happens.
To be able to go and play the number 1 team in the nation on their home field, and when nobody expected us to win, I think that game we really proved to the country that we do have a good team and we can't play with any team in the country.
It would be a typical Penn State pit game. Thanksgiving weekend, national television, hard-hitting Pennsylvania football, and the Lions' 77th consecutive home sellout. Now ranked among the country's top 10 in rushing, scoring, and total defense, these Lions tore into their backyard rivals. Richard McKenzie's acrobatic sack and Frank Giannetti's blocked field goal try denied Pitt a score. Leading 3-0, the Lions unveiled another running weapon as quarterback Tony Sacca converted a 3rd and 12. Trailing the play, Terry Smith recovered the loose pigskin. then paired with Saka to put the ball at the pit 1. A perfect setup for a smash by Gash, giving Penn State an early 10-0 lead. Joe Paterno's special teams play was pivotal as Doug Helkowski's punting continually backed the Panthers into a corner, allowing the defense to blast off. With Penn State on top 13-10, Saka again chose running over passing. And set up Craig Fayak's third field goal. But a Panther touchdown put Pitt up by a single point. Confidently, the Lions answered on the ensuing kickoff.
Picked up at the 7 by Tyson Thomas. He's to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. Tyson Thomas to the 25, breaks outside to the 30, 35, 40. Tyson Thomas turning on the burners. He's at the 45, the 40, and down to the 35 where Lewis Riddick made the tackle. Hand off to Gary Rouse, straight at the middle at the 30, the 25, and he slipped down at the 24-yard line. Saka fakes, throws on the quick screen to Daniels. He's at the 15, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, David Daniels!
Daniels' 8th catch of the game gave Penn State a 22-17 lead. When Pitt tried to come back, Leonard Humphrey's heroics halted a drive at the Penn State 15. Then in the final seconds, Derek Bona's interception ensured the Lions' second straight fourth-quarter come-from-behind victory. The season that had opened with uncertainty closed with a much-savored triumph over a long-time rival. As Penn State finished the regular season with 9 consecutive victories, a ranking among college football's top 10, and a bowl berth, they shared a special pride in their achievements. 9 seniors provided leadership and direction for a squad that would not surrender. This team had chased and caught a dream. They had set a goal and then accomplished it.
Took a little luck, took a lot of hard work. At times, it didn't seem like we were going to be able to do it, but we stuck together. And I think we blended together as a group through all of that.
I'm real proud of all the guys around us. Everybody worked hard, the coaches worked hard, and it was nice to be able to pull it out.
We just all pulled together and grabbed hands, and we marched on the field game by game.
It was a matter of just believing in ourselves and believing in the coaching staff and knowing that we could get it done with the right, attitude.
For each player and coach, the winning streak of 1990 showed the never-quit attitude of this Penn State squad that possessed a will to win.
Penn State has upset top-ranked Notre Dame.
For the 21st year under Joe Paterno, the Nittany Lions had landed a berth in a postseason game. The 1990 pairing was a blockbuster, one of the marquee matchups of the bowl campaign. The Penn State game with Florida State wrote a new chapter in postseason annals as the Lions and Seminoles, both ranked in the nation's top 10, christened the brand new Blockbuster Bowl. For Penn State, the trip south was a reward for an exceptional season. Picture postcard blue skies, clear waters, and abundant sunshine awaited the Nittany Lions in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Prior to the game, the squad enjoyed a week of festivities filled to the brim with food, fun, and the distinctive music of South Florida. At the official welcoming party, Lion players met their Florida State foes at a reception where no one left hungry. Penn State's home away from home was Fort Lauderdale's Pier 66 Resort and Marina. And in the idyllic setting, Penn State players enjoyed the fruits of a successful season against one of the 10 toughest schedules in college football. They now shared the rewards of the dedication and hard work that had carried them through the 9-game win streak and a finish as one of the most respected teams in America. While bowl games are not an unfamiliar occurrence at Penn State, this respite under the sunny skies of South Florida proved relaxing. Penn State and Florida State had met only once before in the 1967 Gator Bowl. A youthful Joe Paterno's first bowl team scored early on a Tom Sherman field goal. The Lions added to their margin with a Sherman to Jack Curry touchdown. And their lead climbed to 17-0 as All-American Ted Quallick broke open in the end zone. But when the Lions were ruled short on a 4th and 1, the Seminoles roared back with 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And the first battle of Penn State and Florida State ended in a 17-17 deadlock. "23 years later, the Lions tuned up for the rematch. Penn State and Florida State featured high-flying offenses, and college football's 2 winningest pilots, Joe Paterno and Bobby Bowden, the only active coaches with more than 200 victories. Following practice, players, coaches, and university staff joined together to celebrate Christmas away from home.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Holiday music and laughter highlighted this special family gathering.
Sluts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan on me. Please have some snow and some mistletoe and presents on the tree. Oh, come let us adore him, Christ the Lord.
An evening of togetherness that showed Penn State talent was certainly not restricted to the football field. Lion players visited youth centers in several South Florida counties. They signed autographs and helped distribute gifts. The visit served to underline the true meaning of the season. Press conferences are as much a part of Bowl Week as game plans and marching bands. The media wanted to know all about the 1990 Lions, winners of a record 20th Lambert Trophy as the Beast of the East. The squad featured 5 first-team All-East selections and 6 players chosen to participate in postseason All-Star games. The Nittany Lions attended a pregame awards luncheon that attracted more than 1,000 people to salute the birth of football's new kid on the postseason block. Penn State President Dr. Joab Thomas was among those who honored senior defensive captain Willie Thomas on his selection as the Lions Student Athlete Award winner for accomplishments on the field and in the classroom. A shining jewel in the South Florida night, Joe Robbie Stadium was set for its first college football game. The Blue Band's traditional pregame performance roused the sellout crowd as the Lions roared from the tunnel. Late in the first period, after Florida State had built a 10-point lead, quarterback Tony Sacca took the Lions on an 80-yard drive. When David Daniels pulled the ball out of a crowd, he raced 56 yards with the Lions' longest touchdown pass of the season. Daniels would set 2 Lion Bowl game records with 7 catches for 154 yards. Darren Perry's 8th interception of the season provided Penn State with a second quarter opportunity. Running like a tailback, Sacca edged Penn State closer, but they couldn't cut into what was now a 17-7 deficit. Linebacker Eric Ravati stormed the Seminole flank to pillage quarterback Casey Weldon, forcing an FSU punt that Terry Smith was one step away from returning for a touchdown. Sacca and Daniels collaborated on another aerial strike that paid dividends in yards, but not points. The Seminoles led by 10 at intermission. Shortly after the break, Penn State's Leonard Humphrey showed why Bobby Bowden called him as fine a defensive back as he had seen all year. Momentum shifted to the Lions' offense, which exploited seams in the Seminole coverage. First, Terry Smith, then David Daniels were targeted by the precise throws of Tony Sacca. When the drive stalled, freshman Craig Fayak kicked a 32-yard field goal to narrow the gap to 7 points. Responding to its sizable contingent of Lions fans, the Penn State defense tightened the screws on a Seminole offense among the nation's best. FSU had a mere 61 yards rushing in the second half as the Lions' resolve stiffened. In a relief role, senior Tom Bill became the centerpiece of Penn State's comeback bid.
First and 10. Penn State at their own 38-yard line. Now on first down, Bill, play action, back to pass, throws over the middle, complete to Dave Daniels at the 45 of Florida State. Breaks a tackle and he gets down to the 40-yard line. On second down, Tom Bill has everybody ready to go. Play action, Bill throwing deep down the middle for Terry Smith. He catches it. He's in for the touchdown. Tom Bill to Terry Smith, and Penn State from 40 yards out into the end zone.
Tom Bill had piloted the Lions 62 yards to make it 24-17 and set the stage for an emotional run to the final gun. Riding the momentum of the touchdown, Lion defenders continued to shut down the Seminoles. forcing Florida State to punt from its own end zone, Penn State would have one final opportunity to win this 1990 Blockbuster Bowl. The Seminoles dampened Penn State's comeback hopes with an end zone interception that preserved a 24-17 triumph. As the emotion drained from a charged Joe Robbie Stadium, participants on both sides exchanged congratulations on a game that brought the Blockbuster Bowl into the college football world with a resounding roar. Penn State's third setback of 1990 by a touchdown or less will not tarnish the dramatic accomplishments of this squad. They will be remembered as another in a long line of teams that took Penn State's style, pride, and tradition and turned it into something special. They had helped to celebrate the birth of a bowl.